Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Oliver Wiedmaier at Ollie underscore all caps on Twitter. I'll be doing a market review for March 21st through the 25th of 2022. The first thing I like to do whenever I do a market review is look at the entire stock market from the inside out. So what I do is I first start by looking at the number of stocks above the 200-day moving average. So here we can see that we have hopefully made a bottom here. We did have a very constructive week last week, but we are no way out of the quote unquote danger zone. I think we still have a lot of work to do. And right here, it looks like we are consolidating. Could just be a relief rally, or it could be the start of a new bull market. Only time will tell. Here we have the percent of stocks above the 50-day. You can see that a lot of stocks made their way through the 50-day this week, which is a very good sign, showing that we are having some strength within the market. Here we have the Dow Jones. This is only 30 stocks, so we don't want to use it as the only indicator for a healthy or unhealthy market, but it's something I like to track. If we take a closer look, we'll see that the 50-day is below the 200-day, which is something that we don't want. We want the 50-day and all of the key moving averages above the 200. We have made a big, let's see here. We are about 7.8% from the bottom. Last week, we had a 5.5% move. So we are in the right direction, but we still have a lot of work to do. Here we have the New York comp. Again, the 200-day is above the 50 and all other key moving averages. So we have a lot of work to do, but this is a good sign. NASDAQ comp. Again, we are really below this downtrend here of, call it 1480. Here is where the 200 is, which is 14,740. The 200-day, this is something that I noted last week. The 200-day has not rolled over. We can see that it started to roll, and then now it's still flat. So that is something that we are looking for. When the 200-day starts to roll over is when we are headed into a potential crash zone. So far, we're still holding up fairly flat on the 200-day for the NASDAQ comp. Whenever I do these market reviews, I like to review ETFs, sectors, industries before I get into individual names. So one name that I always track is the ARK. For me, I would need the 50-day simple moving average to start to curl up before I get interested. If we can move up here, have the 50-day start to curl, and then possibly retest this 64 area, some would be a signal for me to buy, but I need that 50-day to curl up, and I need it to retest this area here with the next key level being 678.25. This would be aggressive, but might be worth it if you can get it on the retest here. The IBD 50, again, still under this 39.5, which is something that I needed to clear in order for me to get interested. And of course, I need the 50 in the 200 to curl up. IWM, it did clear this downtrend, so that is a key indicator for me. 50-day is almost curling up. 200 isn't completely rolled over, but again, two things that I look for when I want to increase exposure. IWO, not over my key downtrend. Looks like, let's see here. Let me reset this. It looks like it did close above it. But again, the 200-day and the 50-day need to start to curl up. But again, we're seeing trend here where it does look like a lot of bottoms have been formed, but we can only see when time tells. We can only tell. We can only see as time. I don't know. Here we have the oil. Looks like we have come down from the highs, respecting the 221. Next, we have IWO. This is a growth ETF that I keep an eye on. It does look like we closed above the key downtrend for me. But again, we need the 50 and the 200 to curl up. OIH is the oil ETF. It looks like we have come down from the highs. It looks like we might be rotating into a different sector. Oil's been ripping for weeks and weeks, and it looks like we are getting a little bit of a relief. PEJ is something that I've been interested in. Leisure and entertainment. The 50 is starting to curl up, but we're still under the 200. So that's not something that I'm going to get too involved in, but something that I still look at from week to week. QQQ. Now, this is a key for me. I mostly trade stocks in the queues. So this is something that I really pay attention to. This has been a key level here, 341. And then we have cleared it. But again, the 50 and the 200. And it looks like I'm kind of in this zone area where I really think that there's going to be a lot of chopping here before we start making our way higher. This is the RWM. If you're not familiar, this is the inverse of the IWM. This is something that I'm tracking always. Whenever I see a setup here, I question whether the IWM could be shorted or not. SH is another inverse for SPY. SLV, this is something that I'm tracking right now. This is the silver. We did have a big move up, but we are seeing that breakdown. SLX is steel. Looks like we have made a kind of a cup and handle here. And it looks like over 65.15 could send it to a new leg. This isn't something I would trade necessarily, but I would be interested in looking at steel names individually if we do cross that 65.15 area. Jump around to the SPY. So, of course, the SPY. So these are the notes that I made for last week's market review. So I'm going to just in real time show you guys how I would adjust from week to week. So hopefully you guys can learn how I do it. And when you do your own market reviews, you will be able to do it yourself. So the first note I made was 21 EMA test. So that was one of the three potential outcomes for last week. As you can tell, we sliced through the 21, made our way through the downtrend, which is this key that I had, and then made its way over the 50, which is a huge, huge signal for me that we might be out of this correction. It did test 420. It came down to, let's see, for the week. It came down to 415. So what it did was it tested the 420 area, and then it just cut through the 21 and it cut through the downtrend line. So it did all three of these things that I said to watch out for. So for now, instead of 21 test, I'm going to say 50 simple moving average test. That's something I'm going to be looking out for. And then also I'm going to be looking out for testing the downtrend line test. So those are the two things that I'm going to be watching for. We'll just jump around a little bit here. We'll look at some Bitcoin. Bitcoin could be curling up. This is really hard to tell what direction the Bitcoin is going to go next. We are above the 50, but under the 200. So any action from here could go in either direction. The 200, I'm sorry, the 50 is curling up, which is a very good sign. And it does look like we are making some higher lows. So I am bullish on Bitcoin, but we still are above, I'm sorry, we're still under the 200 day. Real quick, before we get into individual names, we'll look at gold. We are way off the high. So we are, it hit a high of 193 and we're back down to 179. So we are definitely in kind of a relief zone from gold. Gold usually moves up when the market goes down. So when gold is going down and the market's going up, that's a bullish sign for me. Two more things for me. Wood could be breaking out if we can get over 94 to 95 area. So keep in mind and keep that in mind when you're doing your individual screeners. Last one, the VIX. We are way off of the highs of 37 and 38 in the 39 area. So this is very, very good for me. I am bullish, yet I am still only trading light. So we'll see how this week goes. Now on to some individual names. So I have actually 24 names on my list, which is I have not had a list this big in weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'm very excited to have a growing list. Not all of these 24 names are tradable. Some are setting up, some are set up, and some I'm just watching. So we'll go through all 24 names. And if you see something that interests you, that you want to put on your own watch list, please do your own research and make sure you are trading with your own risk in mind. And whatever I say is for entertainment purposes, and I am stupid. AECOM. I would like to see it build under 78 before it cuts through 78.62. Volume does need to dry up. Amazon, I'm looking for a bit of a relief under the 200 before it cuts through the 200, which is when I will take a position. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. BLDR, I've already had I'm in this name currently. And so the move has already been made. But we will continue to watch how it unfolds. But I got in this area here on this candle, the 75 area. And then I've added to it since. EBC, don't know what's going to happen here, but I like the way this is getting tight. Could make a move over 22, but we will have to see. I like it on the weekly. Look at that weekly. Very nice on the weekly. Google, again, all moving averages are under the 50 and the 200. So this is not something that I'm ready to get into right now. It's going to need to get above the 200 and then retest the 200. So I just have it on my watch list because I'm watching to see how it works. MLI, I'm already in this. It's already gone. I got in it on this candle and then I added to it on this candle on this day. MOH, the move is already done. I got in on it at 326. By the way, all of these names were alerted throughout the week on Twitter and also last week's watch list. NVDA, huge price action last week. I'm looking for it to consolidate a little bit under 270. But I'm already in this name, and I will continue to add as it builds on the right side of its base. REGN, this stock has gone far beyond my expectations. I got in on it 637, and then I got in it above 645, and it was just a day trade. So I missed the bigger move, but that's okay because that was my trading plan. We'll jump around a little bit. Tesla needs to close above the 200, and the 200 needs to curl up for me. ULTA, this is a name I'm really interested in. I need the 50-day to curl up, but I do think that ULTA could be a true market leader. TAN, I need the 200 to curl up for me to get interested. MPC, I think over 78.8 on volume would be a good entry. Do have to watch out the volume is not dried up, which is something that I like to look for. The move would have been on this candle, but that's okay. Not super stoked on this, but is a potential setup. PSA, we need to get above 378.4 on volume. ORLY, not sure what's going to happen here. Would need to build under 710 and then slice through 710 on volume. No setup yet. EMR, the 200 needs to curl up and it needs to come through this area, 97 area on volume. Don't love it. Probably won't trade it. Bros, don't know what's going to happen, but I would like to see it build under 63. A lot of names on this. I've already traded it in this area, but I would like to get involved again. But we need to build in this area here. ARES, would like to see it build under 83. See, a lot of these names aren't set up right now. CHGG, now this is a totally different setup than usual, but you have this huge gap that needs to get filled. So I'm going to take a very small position. If it can close above, let's see, if it can close above 34, I'll be interested in getting into that to see what it does. I'll run that very tight. PFE, need it to consolidate and hold the 50-day for me to get interested. AMRK, this is probably the only name that I'm super duper interested in. Look at it on the weekly. It is making a cup and handle. For me, it would need to get above probably 76.25 with a bigger move over 78. CIVI, kind of like this name, would need it to get over 58 for me. And then KROS, kind of an ugly chart, but I think over 56 with the tight stop could be a nice trade. So not a lot of setups right now, but definitely things are building out, which is what I like to see. I still plan on trading very light, trading with risk in mind, and not exposing myself to unnecessary risk. We're a big week ahead of us, and make sure you are paying attention. If you can't pay attention, I wouldn't trade. If you do decide to trade and have to keep your eyes off the screen, please, when you enter a trade, make sure you set your stop on the low of the day or the low of the previous day, and then just let it work. If it hits the stop, then it hits the stop. Don't take too many positions all in one day. Hope you guys learned something. Thank you very much. And again, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Thank you.